13, be on the lookout for car 55, over.
Is that it?
Oh, no, let me call it in. Dispatch is car 24. We have visual on unit 55. Looks abandoned, over.
Copy that, over.
Mother Christ! Shit, they're behind us! Forget it, just go! Now, now! Dispatch, this is car 24. We are open.
Car 24, what's going on out there?
Dispatch, this is car 24. We are... We gotta get back up!
Rikers Island is New York City's main jail complex. The island is home to one of the world's largest correctional facilities and mental institutions. It has an average population of 10,000 inmates at any time. Rikers has a reputation for abuse and neglect, and is ranked as one of the worst correctional facilities in the United States. Following the outbreak of the green poison, prison guards stopped turning up to work, and a number of the ones who did go in were sick with the virus. Eventually, medical support and supplies were cut off from the island, as the general consensus from officials and the public was that resources would be better spent on the mainland. Essentially, the prisons were being left to fend for themselves until the situation on the mainland had been dealt to. The inmate population was compiled of various gang members, but given the situation, they decided to unite under a single leader, and as one unit, they were able to organize an escape from the island. It was Larae who convinced the inmates to all join forces, as she managed to convince them that together their numbers would overpower their captors, and that if they didn't unite, soon they would be back under the thumb of the government. Larae Barrett was imprisoned at Rikers Island for double murder. She is treacherous, ruthless, and unforgiving. She shows no remorse for her actions, and despises authority of any kind.
You claim the officer put you in a chokehold.
It ain't a claim, that's a fact.
And you felt it was appropriate to pull the gun you had hidden on your person.
In self-defense, my client feared for her life.
And shot 2 officers, both family men incidentally, in the back of the head. Execution style, at point-blank range. That is a curious kind of self-defense. You're smiling, Barrett. Something you want to share?
Just having me a nice memory. You know, childhood.
Nothing to do with shooting 2 innocent men in the back of the head.
Just puppies and baby dolls and flowers and all that shit.
This is speculation, Detective. Let's stick to the facts.
You know I ain't nothing but sugar and spice and everything nice.
The rumour floating around Rikers was that an administrator of the prison had a bit of a thing for Larae, and through this relationship, he organised a barge so they could sail away into the sunset together. However, this relationship didn't last long, and as soon as the plan was set in motion, Larae cut the administrator's throat, and utilising the barge, she was able to transport the prisoners to the mainland.
You ain't no fucking lieutenant, man.
I was right by her side. Bitch owes me. Big time.
Do not let her hear you talk like that, fool. You got a death wish? How'd you get past security?
Hostages. Barely any of those fool guards coming to work since that shit hit the fan. Rest of them sick or run off. Easy to overpower them. Make them do what we wanted. Then we watch them bleed like the pigs they are.
Some of those brothers weren't so bad.
That's Larae for you.
Where'd the fucking barge come from?
You know that stupid-ass administrator had a thing for her? She got him to do it all. Then, just when he thought he was gonna ride off to glory with his outlaw woman, she slit his throat.
Shit. She is one stone-cold bitch, isn't she?
Larae had a very intimidating presence, and she often used brutal torture methods on both captured JTF officers and disobedient Rikers. She needed a way of bringing her gang members into line, and these methods proved the most effective for even the most hardened criminal. Many of her followers were afraid of her, and knew the dire consequences they might face if they did not side with her. She controlled them by fear. If they weren't with her, they were against her, and ultimately would meet the same fate as the authority figures she despised so much. Once the Rikers had established themselves on the mainland, they found they had very little trouble with expanding their numbers even further, as the local gangs heard about their leader and their strength, and many were eager to join. Unsurprisingly, with this influx of new recruits, power struggles soon began to follow, and Larae further proved her ruthlessness by swiftly dealing to those who questioned her leadership. She proved that under her powerful leadership, that the Rikers gang is not to be messed with.
When I was in Rikers, one of the girls got a hold of this pen, stuck it right in the back of my head. So I took that pen and gave it right back to her. And wouldn't you know, it went straight through her eye, sliced open her cheek, ink all over the insides of her mouth. But that wasn't enough. So I cut the bitch's throat. And after I finished stabbing her, well, that was that.
Your point?
I don't do second chances.
No! 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 No!
Larae encouraged brutality towards the JTF, reminding her followers of the government's plan to leave them all behind, to starve and die on Rikers Island. And because of this, they must be punished in the most horrific way imaginable.
We know them. They're the same under that uniform. Police, parole officers, judges, guards, child motherfucking protection officers. Fancy government agents with their fancy-ass watches and their shiny guns, prancing around like they fucking gods or something. They were gonna leave us to starve and die in there. They don't give two shits about our lives. They never have, and they never will. We just some trash in their way. They just assume we just blow right away. But we gonna be a storm instead. Gonna blow them to bits. These parasites in their shiny JTF uniforms, you know them. You've been dealing with them all your lives. All look the same on the inside. Well, let's see for ourselves, shall we? Yeah, that's what they look like on the inside. Ugly. So you make them suffer, you make them beg, you make them do whatever the hell you want. Just make sure you don't leave anyone alive.
The Rikers were getting creative with their methods. They were making a statement. It was becoming a game, a sport. Their goal, to take advantage of the current situation in New York and claim ownership for themselves, while slaughtering as many uniformed authorities as possible. Survival wasn't so easy on the mainland. A lot of the food and water had already been pillaged by rioters and civilians in need. Fortunately for the Rikers, the growing rumours of Larae's brutality and ruthlessness made it possible to secure supplies for her members.
Yo, this is Larae.
What do you want from me?
You know who I am. You know you can work for me, or, well, you don't have a lot of choices.
Look, I got no beef with you, okay? What do you want me to do?
Good man. What I need you to do is simple. You haul produce before you went on the inside, right?
Yeah.
My people need food. You're gonna find that food, and you're gonna give it to the people of my choosing. You get it? I tell you when and where. You keep it running.
There ain't gonna be a lot left.
Get creative. Find anything you can and bring it to me.
Fuck. This isn't gonna be easy. I'm gonna need trucks, and I'm gonna need drivers.
You'll have them. Deliveries start tomorrow. You hear me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I sure do.
James Dragov's father was the head of a Russian crime family. He grew up around extortion, bribery, and murder. He watched as a number of good people turned bad, tainted by corruption and greed, their innocence lost. But Dragov chose a different path, the law, and became a New York police officer. However, much to his dismay, he found that things weren't so different in the force, where egotism, deceit, and bribes were abundant. So he made it his own personal mission to dedicate his career in bringing down the extortion and lies and put a stop to it once and for all. Dragov made a name for himself with his stern and sharpshooting ways. he was beginning to accomplish changes within his department on in-house crime. From here, he began to get noticed by recruiters, and not long after, he was recruited by the Strategic Homeland Division. He was activated along with the first wave division agents, but instead of assisting with the quarantine in Manhattan, he was tasked with helping the remaining correctional officers on Rikers Island. The dollar flu had made it here too, and the dwindling guard presence due to sickness meant that they required extra support at this time. But as the virus spread through the city, prison riots began to get out of control, and communication to Rikers Island was lost. Before he was stationed on Rikers Island, Dragov was already starting to show signs of frustration and of being disenchanted with the division.
The fuck? How are this many agents assigned to Tribeca?
Not really that surprising. You check who lives around here? It's a who's who of Manhattan.
These people can get out whenever they damn well please.
They don't want to. These families have never faced adversity. Their biggest challenges are deciding what country to import their nannies from and which divorce and immigration lawyers to hire.
So what you're saying is silver spoons and detached from reality.
Got it on the first try. Smarter than you look.
I hope the division would be free from this type of corruption.
Nope. Check that side of the street. I think I saw a movement.
Roger that.
In his eyes, the twisted morals of his crime family and the crooked police force lies and manipulations had somehow managed to creep its way into the division ranks. He was beginning to realize even the best of us can be turned, and that extortion is everywhere. Money is power. The rich were being taken care of, while the poor were left struggling to survive. On Rikers Island, the prison warden had made the call for all staff to leave the island. This was the last straw for Dragov.
What are you doing with the inmates?
Well, they'll stay here.
You're leaving people in lockup?
Not everyone. Low-risk inmates have already been released, but the rest will have to remain in their cells. It's for everyone's safety. We can't ensure their transition into society.
I'm afraid I can't let you do that.
It's not your call to make, Agent. You have a direct order to escort me off the island.
My orders are to serve the people. It's a shame I got distracted doing my job and wasn't here in time to save you.
Wait, what are you doing? Hey, no, stop!
Dragov killed the warden and freed the prisoners. He wasn't prepared to just leave them there to starve to death in their cells. He was marked as rogue, but before he left Rikers Island, he grabbed the guard keys and handed them to Larae Barrett. Eventually enough was enough. The JTF found where Larae Barrett and the Rikers had set up camp and sent in the division agents to take them down. The Rikers were using the Lexington Event Center as their HQ. The JTF officers that found the hideout were taken hostage, so the first step was to rescue the JTF and then shut down the Rikers by taking out Larae. Immediately upon entering the event center, it was obvious that this had been used as an area to humiliate and torture the JTF.
Just a little game of pin the axe on the piggy.
How about 10 points if you get him in the arm?
5 for the hands! What do you say, 20 for the head? 30? Depends on how deep it goes in. You know, that song, the one about the bridge. Damn, what is the name of that shit? You know, that guy sings it.
I can't even play piano, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't be shy now, boys. Every party needs some music.
Wait! I used to be in a band. I think I know the one. Follow my lead.
Right song, wrong key.
After rescuing the hostages, JTF officers joined up with the second wave agents to assist in the final fight against a well-defended Larae Barrett. Even in her last moments, Larae continued to preach to her followers and show maximum disrespect towards the government and authorities. Without Larae, the Rikers' threat was considerably reduced, and in-house fighting started. They were forced into hiding. It's clear how much an effect her death had. The planning and ruthless leadership of Larae Barrett would never be replaced. But the Rikers were not down and out yet. The attack on the Lexington Event Centre had forced them to retreat from the fancy apartments they took over, down to the filthy conditions of the underground. The Rikers are continually looking for payback against the JTF and the Division, and this has been shown through encounters like Clear Skies and a massive attack that was launched on the news agency and the stolen signal battle. After Larae Barrett's death, the Rikers were in a state of disarray, with a constant barrage of new leaders unsuccessfully attempting to pick up where Larae left off. Dragov would receive a visit by a Rikers member who knew him from prison.
You recognize me?
Not really. Rikers? You a former inmate or one of the new recruits?
I was 2 cells over when you threw the warden's keys to Barrett.
Hope you're not looking for a handout.
Nah, ain't like that. I thought you'd like to hear about an opportunity.
I'm listening.
Barrett took a bullet. Or 10. There's a lot of internal conflict, so...
Not sure I'm the right guy.
Just come by and say hello. I think you'll like us. We already owe you.
Unsure at first, he decided to go and see what he had to work with. And what he found was a group of desperate people who simply wanted to survive. He saw these people as his people, his family.
I watched how this country responded to calls from help from those in need. Discarding them to come to the aid of men with means. We showed them. We stormed their castles. We took from them what they took from us. We threw those rich bastards out of their penthouses, and we built something from the ruins. A community. No. A family. Dad'd be proud. Family first, Milenkilev. Oh, he taught me a lot. But not that he meant to. I watched as he bent men to his will. How he corrupted people around him, changing good to bad, the innocent to guilty. The family he built was one of crime, of extortion, of bribery, of murder. I chose the law. And all I saw was a different side of the same coin. Police, corrupt thugs taking petty bribes. Division, ha! Delusional killers of the highest order. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You? Yeah, you're criminals. I am too. We all are. But you didn't deserve what they did to you. So now, we'll take what we can. It's time to ring in a new era.
Dragov was able to bring the Rikers crew together. The in-house fighting was stopped. Under his guidance, they had structure, and they were carving out a territory that they could call home. After months of babysitting the rich, Dragov had gone full circle and was taking from them in order to build up supplies for his new family. The Riker ranks were starting to swell from the joining of local gangs and desperate families who were struggling to survive alone. With the Rikers, they had security, food, and supplies to last them a lifetime. After being left for dead on the prison island, things were starting to look pretty good. But Dragov's successes were starting to get recognized outside of the group, and eventually he received a visit from a certain rogue agent, Aaron Keener.
I'm gonna need a list.
Here you go.
Some of these are gonna be hard to find. Sarah crates aren't so bad. These specialized chemicals and viral cultures, though, they'll take some time.
I'm patient, but I'm job number 1. Unless you want to start experiencing staff loss.
Fuck you, Keener. These people are family.
Just think of me as a second cousin if that makes it easier.
I won't, and it doesn't. But I'll get the shit on your list with the condition that you leave us alone.
Loaded at the pier. I'll give times and locations for deliveries. Don't worry. I'll make it worth your while.
Dragov wasn't all that interested in working with Keener, but understands the value in keeping on his good side. But in saying that, perhaps he took too long. Or maybe Keener just wanted to show what he was capable of.
Everyone, shut the fuck up! You may have heard rumblings after the bloodbath in Midtown. Yeah, it's true. We lost a lot of good people. People I consider family.
What the fuck happened?
Keener happened. And unless we play ball, he'll keep happening.
Fuck that guy. Let's kill him.
Shut the fuck up, Ron.
I don't like this any more than you. But this is an opportunity for us. And it'll keep us in the good graces of a powerful ally. First things first. We're moving downtown. We're gonna take an enclave in the heart of the financial district itself.
What's an enclave?
God damn it, Ron. Shut the fuck up.
Dragov and the Rikers proceeded to storm Wall Street. They shifted their entire operation down to Lower Manhattan, again taking from the rich and stockpiling vast amounts of food, weapons, body armor, and ammunition. He was able to set up his black market operations, where people who had the resources to trade could visit. This would also help with acquiring some of the more unusual pieces from Keener's list. However, Keener was starting to grow impatient.
Was I unclear?
Don't patronize me, Keener.
I'm honestly asking, because you still haven't delivered.
You realize that moving our entire operation south takes time, don't you?
Do I look like a man who cares about your problems? I care about one thing, the delivery of the supplies I asked for.
You'll get them. This shit is hard to find.
You got 24 hours. If I don't get a delivery by then, I'll make what happened to Heavy look downright pleasant compared to the rest of your crew.
Wait. What the fuck did you do to Heavy?
I'm sure you'll figure it out. Don't make me come back.
Keener's list included biohazard materials and items that would require chemists to repair. Because of this, he wasn't able to complete his order on time. As punishment, Keener killed the Rikers member, Heavy, and told Dragov that he would continue eliminating Rikers members if he didn't deliver. Reluctantly, Dragov complied and helped Keener with various other tasks for the sake of his new family. Keener ordered Dragov, along with fellow rogue agents Vivian Conley, Javier Kajika, and Theo Parnell, to assault the JTF base of operations in Lower Manhattan. He assisted in taking out the JTF guards on site, while Conley planted Keener's new bioweapon. Division agents arrived from Washington, D.C. and investigated the attack. While there, they found evidence pointing directly towards James Dragov, along with his fellow rogue agent co-conspirators, which proved they were the ones behind the attacks. Over the course of time, Dragov was tracked down and was found to be residing in the financial district, where he was running his black market operation. In an attempt to retrieve Keener's supplies, the division stormed the district. They were met by Duchess and a group of Rikers. The division dealt with Duchess and the Rikers and proceeded to claim the supplies. Pushing through the Riker defenses, the division managed to destroy the APC and made it to the stock exchange building where Dragov was waiting. The division fought on and killed Dragov as well as 2 of his lieutenants. Many hostile factions rose to power after the outbreak, using the devastation and lawlessness to quickly gain power and territory. The Rikers started as one of the most straightforward factions in the division. With these guys, what you saw is what you got. There was no hidden agendas within this group. They simply wanted to create chaos in the wake of the outbreak. But then Dragov was introduced. I feel this was a bit of a sad story. He removed himself from the situation where he'd grown up, surrounded by crime and murder, to instead do good, only to find himself in a setting that was surrounded by the corruption of the police force. Still, he fought on to put an end to it, and made a name for himself to the point of being recruited by the division. But yet again, in his eyes, he was placed in a position where the elites of society were given preference over everyone else. What happened on Rikers Island caused him to snap. Obviously in search from a young age for a group that he could call family, he found what he was looking for in the Rikers. He was attempting to lead them down a Robin Hood sort of path, and giving to the ones left helpless and abandoned by the government. And from what we can tell from the comms, he actually seemed to be straightening the Rikers out, to a certain extent. But of course, then Keener comes into the picture, and by killing and threatening his new family, Dragov was forced down a path that would ultimately lead to his death. What are your thoughts on Dragov? I actually quite like the extra depth that the Warlords of New York brought to the Rikers story. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!